We hit the Paeroa now, and the WINZ office there. Alexis Smith is 70. She gets superannuation, but she changed her bank and needed to notify WINZ so her super could be paid into her new account. Easy, she thought. And one day when she was in town, she popped into the Paeroa WINZ office to drop in her new details. What happened next was an insight into something she'd never experienced before, and she was shocked by it. So shocked, she wrote an email to the minister. And it made her remember the stories she'd heard, but had never taken much notice of people feeling intimidated during their dealings with WINZ. We begin with Alexis approaching the WINZ office.
There's these two security guards standing there looking at me. And so I walked up and I said, I'm just coming to deliver a letter. And they said, identification, please. And I said, pardon? And identification, please. I said, oh, well, if you must. So I scratched her. My driver's license, and I was allowed to enter. Upon entering the WINZ office, I was encountered by no reception, just a half circle of seating. A lady was sitting there, waiting presumably, and a sea of desks. So I turned around and said, there's no reception, and the guard said to me, there's no guarantee that letter will be read. And I said, pardon? And he said, there's no guarantee the letter will be read. And I said, oh, OK, well, I'll just leave it on this desk over here.
Wait, sorry, Alexis, because you're doing a tremendously evocative job of telling the story, and I'm loath to interrupt, but was the guard wearing a security guard's uniform?
Oh, yeah, all kitted out.
OK.
All kitted out.
And so the security guard was able to tell you,
yes,
on behalf of WINZ, that there was no guarantee your letter would be read.
Absolutely.
He or she felt mandated to do that?
Not once, many times.
Right.
On entering and when I was leaving. So what was that? Somebody at the back of the room yelled out, there's no guarantee that letter will be read. Obviously somebody had seen me enter, had heard the dialogue, and was making a comment. So, of course, I fired up. I thought, oh, that'll be the day. I've worked for 50 years to support this country and done my best, and I'm not putting up with this sort of behaviour. So, hence the email. I exited while I was being told a number of times by the guards that the letter, there was no guarantee that that letter would be read. Now, intimidation is not something I believe should be allowed in a place like that. There's enough high feelings, people in vulnerable situations having to enter into a kind of environment like that. It's horrible. It's nasty, and it's really, really scary.
Now, Alexis, I was making light of this, and actually you make me stop and listen to what you're saying in a new way, because what you're saying actually is that you found that situation and you sound confident, robust.
Yeah.
You sound like you've got a bit of life under your belt,
yeah,
and you can look after yourself. And
yeah,
you found it what?
I found it scary and intimidating. And I've spoken to other women, I'm 70, I've spoken to other women around my age group, and they all feel the same way. This is not right. It's not right. And John, I bless the fact that I dropped that letter off, because I would never have known what it was like for people entering into that environment. It's absolute overkill. And there's no welcome, there's no point of reference that you can go in and say, well, I've arrived, what do I do next?
So from the outset, you felt unwelcome?
Oh, absolutely. I felt like blocked out. And of course,
And from the outset, sometimes I worry about putting words in people's mouths, but you can handle me if I'm saying stuff that's not correct.
Oh, I'll tell you that.
Great, thank you. Okay, I'm grateful. Did you feel like you were an inconvenience?
No, I felt intimidated. That's exactly how I felt. I felt intimidated, and I pushed through that kind of thing. But not everybody is me, and not everybody has the skills to cope with that kind of thing. And walking into this huge building, and it's like it was just horrible. I can't even begin to describe it. Now, I've had a ring from the lady that runs that office, and she's spoken to me as a result of reading my, in inverted commas, email. She wasn't prompted by that incident to ring me. She had to get the email from the minister down the line, however they do it, to say to me that those security guards are there so that they can gauge if somebody is mentally unwell. Well, the last I knew about anything like that, you had to be qualified to make that judgment.
I guess this would be after Ashburton, right?
Well,
I guess.
Well, yes, okay, but that was once in our history. It was tragic. But you know, John, I got a nanosecond of total understanding the frustration that people must be under entering into that situation. It's like, why? Why do we have to go down this road of intimidating people, making rules and not letting people know what the story is? If I had known I wasn't to drop that letter off there, I'd have posted it.
Alexis Smith talking about her first-hand experience of trying to simply change her bank account details at the Paeroa WINZ office.